These are 10 things I learned as a design student at UC Davis. Hey guys, it's me Noelle and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, I am in an empty classroom. I am actually at my design building on campus at UC Davis. This building is called Cruz Hall and it's located on California Avenue. I literally broke in. No, I didn't break in. I was just wandering around Cruz Hall looking for a place to film and this classroom happened to be empty. I just thought it would be fun to reflect on a few things I've learned my past 3 years here as a design major. Let me just tell you guys, I entered this program not knowing a lick about design. So it's so cool to see where I'm at in my journey and I just love to share it with you guys. I'm currently a third-year design major and sociology and tech management minor here at the University of California, Davis. Before we get into this video, I would really appreciate it if you hit that like button and subscribe button and let me know in the comments down below if you enjoy these college-related videos. If you want to know more about my personal experience as a design major or just as a college student in general, let me know. And without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I learned as a design major is that imposter syndrome is a real thing. If you don't know what imposter syndrome is, it's basically the feeling of feeling like you're a fraud. So like I said earlier, going into this department as a fresh college student, I was surrounded by people who seemed like they knew everything, had so much experience under their belt. And then there was me, someone who had a very underdeveloped portfolio. I literally knew nothing about design. I just knew I grew up as a creative person and I like to make things here and there. But design itself, I didn't know much about. Entering these classes with such talented individuals can be very intimidating. Let me just tell you, comparison is a real thief of joy. It can really get in the way of your personal design journey. Not just design, but in general. When you look at people around you in your classes, they seem to be doing a lot better than you. How can you help but not compare yourself? I think a lot of people I know can relate to this. I think college students in general go through this a lot. I just want to reassure you that you're completely not alone in these feelings. If you feel like you don't belong, I can guarantee you everyone's probably feeling that way too, but you do belong and you have so much to offer. Your work is valuable and we're all in this learning process together. The second thing I learned as a design student is that you get inspiration everywhere. Amidst the imposter syndrome is a spark of inspiration. Seriously guys, people are so talented and it's this never-ending feeling of being inspired just by their stories and their work and their styles and different viewpoints. I think that's one of my favorite things about being a design major is just feeling that passion from everyone and just seeing how people can look at the same thing and completely interpret it in their own unique way and produce something amazing. Number 3, you will have 100 new ideas every day, and 99% of them you probably won't go through with. And there's no shame in that. In one of my very first design classes, we had to create this thing called a bug list. Shout out to you, Dr. Housefield, where you would just write everything in your life that bugged you, literally bothered, annoyed you. That exercise was so memorable to me because I just remember thinking, most of these kind of suck, and that's totally okay. I think part of being a designer is recognizing that you will create crappy work sometimes. You'll have subpar ideas, but in that pool of 1,000 ideas, there will always be those ideas that stick out, the ones that you follow through with. So don't feel ashamed. Oh. Hello, is our class here? Oh, what time is it at? Okay, thank you. Thanks. If there is a class, if just people start walking in, I'm gonna be mortified. I changed locations. There ended up being a class in that classroom, but that's what I get for trying to break in. Anyways, having ideas, having a lot of ideas is never a bad thing. And actually, it's encouraged in the design world. I lost count of what number this is. So the next one is, you have a super rare and beautiful opportunity to see the vulnerability in people. I think the longer I've been a design student, the more I recognize this, that people naturally design what they love. And through the things that people make, you can kind of get a glimpse of the kind of person they are, their values, and I just think that is so cool. Like, design is a professional career, but there are not a lot of professional careers that really dig into the soul deep down. A lot of careers just require you to clock in, do the work, and clock out. But with design, I feel like you get this really rare opportunity to see into people's lives. I always tell people design is like applied art. That's another thing I really, really love about design, is that it is artistic, but it's practical and it's just so necessary. Okay, I kind of went on a tangent. I forgot what the original point was. But yeah, moving on. As a designer, you have to take risks. You will be pushed out of your comfort zone. And for a while, I really wanted to design in my own box. I only wanted to design the things that applied to me, the things I naturally liked and gravitated towards. But thinking realistically, when you're a designer and you're put out into the real world, you're gonna have to design for other people. A big thing they emphasize at UC Davis design department is human-centered design. Designing outside of yourself and your personal needs, but thinking about other people's needs. People you might not relate to immediately. I think it's so cool to be pushed out of your comfort zone and do things you wouldn't naturally do. And I'm so thankful to say that I think I've grown a lot through these experiences. Okay, this lighting is actually bothering me. I really hope it's not distracting. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's so much better. Sorry about the terrible lighting. I really apologize. Number whatever, you start to develop your style. For the longest time, I didn't know what my style was. I was just designing whatever I liked here and there. Not until recently, actually, where I've watched videos and taken this one seminar, did I realize that I have been developing my style all along. I know that's kind of like a no duh, but coming from someone who was like kind of all over the place, having that realization was so comforting. Let me kind of explain what I mean. In my opinion, your style is something that you continuously develop, but it's also something that time and time again keeps showing up in your work. For example, for me, I noticed that a lot of my work involves line work and like florals, stars, and of course style changes with your interests and your values. The next thing I learned as a design student is that you start finding meaning in everything. Everything in the world is designed to some degree, from road signs to furniture to websites to utensils to everything has a purpose behind it. I noticed that ever since I became a design major, I've just been noticing, like, why is there spacing between that word and that word? Like, what purpose does that serve? I think I've started to notice that design is seriously everywhere. Behind every item, object, utensil, tool is a designer who thought about the exact way to make that. And I'm not saying all design is good design, but good design always has a purpose. Design is intentional, it's purposeful, it's literally in the name. When you design something, you have a goal in mind. The next thing I learned is something I am still learning. You don't have to label yourself as a designer. College is confusing sometimes because I feel like there's this expectation that you have to tell people, I'm pursuing this, I'm gonna become this. When in reality, who really knows that? I'm kind of being a hypocrite because I'm telling people I want to become a graphic designer. However, I feel like design is just so interdisciplinary. There is so much overlap between the fields and different paths of design. It's almost impossible, I feel like, to do one kind of design. Here at UC Davis, the major design is just called that, design. There's no separate graphic design, interior, fashion. It's all under the umbrella term design. I think that is amazing and so intentional because in the real world, I feel like you take lessons you've learned from graphic design and apply it to other fields of design. You don't necessarily, okay, how many times am I going to say design in this video? Count and comment, let me know. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to feel pressured to label yourself as one kind of designer. because it's okay to be a bunch of different kinds of designers. In fact, I feel like that makes you more competitive. You have more tools under your belt, a lot more skills. And that's also the fun thing about design. You don't have to stay within your field. Of course, it's normal to specialize in a kind of design, but oftentimes graphic designers will also be really well versed in UI UX design. Don't feel pressured to pursue just one path. The next thing I learned as a design major is that working with people is necessary and inevitable. All throughout high school, I hated group projects. I just hated it. I couldn't rely on people. People would not pull their weight. I would feel like I'd be doing all the work, just not a great dynamic most of the time. And while this is true in college sometimes, design has taught me that it is absolutely necessary to work with people. In almost every design class I've taken, actually every design class I've taken, there are critiques and feedback days where all you do is interact with others. I feel like I was very stubborn and closed-minded in a way with my work. Like, I wanted it this one way. But the second someone gives you advice, you kind of realize, like, wait, that's pretty good. Basically what I'm trying to say is that you don't have all the answers, and that's why you're here, to learn, to be a student. I think you'll be a student for the rest of your life in some way. You'll never ever learn all that you need to know in the design field. This lesson was especially hard for me to accept and swallow, that I need to rely on other people and their insights in order to succeed. It's okay not to know everything. It's okay not to have everything figured out. I think that's another really beautiful thing about design, is that people are coming from different places with different skills. And when you get a chance to work in a group project, you have the opportunity to create something so amazing. Because it's no longer you, one designer working on something, it's multiple viewpoints and perspectives coming together. Design is something you can't do alone. And one idea that is really stressed here at Davis is the concept of empathy. You can't really be empathetic if you're not willing to step into someone else's shoes and learn from them. I legitimately lost count. I think this is more than 10. The next thing I learned is that design can be overwhelming. A lot of design is focused on improving the community around you, bettering the world, inventing new ways of doing things, and that to me can just be a very intimidating idea. I used to think there can't possibly be anything new I can contribute that hasn't already been done before. But I continuously prove myself wrong. I feel like the more and more we develop as a society, the more opportunities we have to design new things. It's true, we are more developed than we've ever been as a society technologically. So aren't there a million more ways to design something? Tapping into that, the idea that my work can change the world literally, scares me. Like, I can make an impact with something I invent or redesign or come up with. As designers, we're willing to take on that challenge. The last thing I will share, something that I hope you will learn from watching this video. This kind of relates to my first point I made in this video, the imposter syndrome point. No matter what you think, no matter how many times something's been done before, the truth is no one does it like you. You as an individual and as a designer have an incredible amount of insight to offer this world. Only you can do it the way you do it. The way your neurons are connected in your brain, your personal life experiences, and just the person you are. All of those things makes you a unique and invaluable person that the world needs more of. I know this is corny, but it's something that I'm really thinking through. She may be better at Adobe Illustrator than you for now. He may have come up with this revolutionary furniture design idea that you couldn't ever have thought of maybe. But are they you though? Do they have your experiences? Do they have your skill set? Do they have your purpose as a designer? No, only you do. So if there's one thing you take out of this video, you do belong, you are valuable, and you are wildly capable of doing all the things you set your mind to. And that's it. 10 things, I think that was more like 12 or 13 things I learned as a UC Davis design student. If you are a prospective or current design student and have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful in some way. And future Noelle, if you're watching this, I'm proud of you. You have made some pretty cool things as a designer, and I cannot wait to see where you end up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.